a check of the weather right away with KIMT Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sean Macaday, because he is tracking chances for severe weather today that you're going to need to know about, Sean.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. First, out the door this morning, it's raining. We know that, you know that, but I'll tell you, skip the umbrella. I just told you this. Go for a rain jacket. There is a risk all day long for cloud to ground lightning. We've kind of primed ourselves for that given the diffuse rain we've had pretty much all night with a couple lightning strikes here and there. And as that rain continues, it just really charges up the atmosphere more and more. If you're stepping out the door right now, we're in the low to mid 60s. Dew points also at 60 degrees, so it does feel humid. It's not just wet, it is also actually humid. And winds out of the southeast, around 15 miles per hour, gusting stronger than that. So talking about the rain and the moisture, there is going to be a risk for flash flooding today. We're at a flood watch all day long for our entire viewing area in this darker green. And then this lighter green, that is a flash flood warning for Forest City and parts of Winnebago and Hancock counties. That's through almost 7 p.m. later today. We've already seen 3 to 5 inches in that general area overnight, and we could see another 1 to 4. That's just talking about the risk for flooding, which is a risk for our entire viewing area. But let's talk about the real risk coming our way. First, it's this bow echo. Right now, it's along the really Missouri Valley. So that's Omaha and everywhere north between Nebraska and Iowa. You have a tornado warning just north of Omaha right here, and a very large area of a wind-warned severe thunderstorm warning. This is moving from Nebraska into Iowa, likely with winds in excess of 80 miles per hour. That is headed to us this afternoon, likely when a lot of folks would be getting off work or school, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. That line is going to be where severe thunderstorm potential peaks. But ahead of that, we're already seeing plenty of rain. We have, in some spots here in northeast Iowa, there's already been reports. That's radar reported, by the way, but there have been verifiable reports of 3 to 5 inches closer to parts of Hancock and Winnebago counties, and elsewhere we've had some decent rain already. We're getting a lot more on top of that. Low to mid 60s at the moment. It's not going to be that cold of a day. It'll be kind of warm, but not too warm of a day either. We're going to be mostly in the 60s, briefly into the 70s this afternoon, right as that line of storms moves in. That's going to help make these storms stronger, and that is why the National Weather Service and us here at KMT are so concerned about that potential for severe storms, because that line, when it moves in, is going to have the perfect conditions to get going. In northeast Iowa, northeast Iowa, really east of I-35, Mason City, Cresco, Charles City, Decorah, and also up to southeast of Minnesota, Fillmore County, Houston counties. That's where we're at a level 4 out of 5 risk from the Storm Prediction Center. In the orange, it's a 3 out of 5. This really only happens maybe once every year or two. It's pretty rare, and typically when it does, these are the storms that folks remember. There's a potential for many severe thunderstorms spread across the entire viewing area later this afternoon when that line moves through, and you could talk about everything in the kitchen sink. Here's kind of it breaking down for you. Tornadoes, there's high potential for several destructive, long-lived tornadoes before and during that line of thunderstorms as it moves through. Damaging winds are especially a strong risk when you're talking about 80-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts. Hail's going to be a little bit earlier in the afternoon with that risk, but let's talk about tornadoes. The risk for tornadoes is going to start peaking after about 3 p.m. That starts to move into North Iowa, peaking maybe in Mason City, Charles City area, 4 to 5 p.m., and scooping up into southern Minnesota by 5 to 6 to 7 p.m. as that line continues to move through. I'm going to show you this real quick, because this is how it plays out. The scattered showers this morning move out. You get a couple of more isolated, discrete cells here popping up. This is 1 p.m. That's going to be when the hail potential is highest. And then as this cold front swings through, you get this very intense line of strong thunderstorms associated with 60, 70, or 80 mile per hour winds, alongside a couple tornadoes in between. That's going to swing on through, and that is the time that you want to be weather aware the most. You should be weather aware all day long, but that is when things are expected to peak. Here's my advice to you. A lot of folks get off work around 4 or 5 p.m., give or take, right? If you can, maybe leave a little bit early. I'm serious, because you don't want to be driving in that with everybody else during that time. So stay tuned with us, and we'll help you plan that out.
All right. Thank you, Sean.